Hi, I'm Jill.
And I'm Erin.
You're listening to Banter and Dish podcast.
We'll share relatable stories and recipes
with a hint of humor
and a dash of delight.
I like it. Welcome to Banter and Dish podcast season 2. We appreciate everyone who takes the time to listen, whether you're a weekly listener, a once in a while listener, or if you're joining us for the first time today. Thank you so much. The format of the podcast is that we banter for a bit, then chat about an easy dish. And today's recipe is Guadalajara Swiss Chard Quesadillas, originally from Vegetarian Times, but from food.com. This episode is being recorded on September 5th, 2021, and will be available for you to stream on September 16th. Erin is on assignment this week, so I have Darcey as a guest host. Really appreciate you taking the time to record with me.
Hi, Jill. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be back on Banter and Dish.
Okay, so before Darcey and I get into our banter, I do want to kind of talk a little bit about my expectations for season 2, because last year, Erin and I started with weekly episodes. While it was very fun, it was extremely time consuming. I think she and I both bit off more than we could chew, pun intended, for Banter and Dish. So we're shooting for every other week. We might throw in some extras depending on if we have extra time to record.
Some bonus episodes.
Yes, some bonus episodes. Often Erin will be recording with me when she's off on assignment. I'll have guest hosts, and it's always fun to chat with friends and family. At the end of each episode last year, I would say what was expected for the following week. I don't know what's expected for the next episode, so it's all going to be a surprise. This is going to be the season of surprises. And every time you listen, listeners, it'll be like a surprise birthday party. You won't know what to expect. Although people don't like surprise birthday parties, so I'm just kidding. It'll be the best party of your life. Just kidding. That's a little oversell. Darcey, save me. I'm rambling.
I'm glad you brought up surprises, Jill.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a big surprise that you shared with me recently that you need to share with your listeners.
Yes. All of you know Lloyd, right?
Yes.
He and I got married on August 21st.
I got a text that morning and it was just 2 pictures. One of her with a bouquet of flowers holding hands with Lloyd, and the other her holding a sign that says just married.
Yes.
I will post it in the comments. I was on the road and saw these pictures and almost wrecked because
oh no,
I was so surprised. And so when I stopped, I texted back again because I was on the road. OMG, you guys got married, with a bunch of exclamation points. I was so shocked because we had previously had a conversation about you guys getting married next year.
Yes, that was one of the original plans.
Right.
We got officially engaged toward the end of May, and we were anticipating having a May 2022 wedding. Small one. It's my second marriage. It wasn't going to be a big, elaborate affair or anything like that. And we were kind of planning some things. And Darcey and I got to talking, and the plans completely changed.
And she said this in the text. So after she responded, yes, she said, and I quote, I'm reading from my phone, decided to elope after our bowling conversation, which was the wedding conversation.
Yes.
Realized we didn't want all the fuss. Even my parents didn't know until after. So all I'm thinking is, Penny's going to kill me. Am I the one that talked her out of a wedding? Again, decided to elope after our bowling conversation. So do you want to elaborate on that? And I had the fear of God in me. Your parents were going to
No. No, they're not. I mean, my mom obviously wished she could have been there, but it was truly no family. It was just our 2 witnesses and us. And it was just a sweet little ceremony, less than 2-minute little ceremony. Yeah, no, Darcey and I had a conversation. My original plan, because Lloyd and I wanted something fun, was to have a bowling party. We just thought this would be fun. We were going to invite close friends and family. It was going to be so low key. That's what both Lloyd and I wanted. But I mentioned these plans to Darcey, and Darcey, you remember what your response was.
Well, I think the listeners first need to know that I plan events for a living.
Yes.
So you're telling like the event planner.
Right.
Oh, we're going to have a wedding reception. You actually said 100 people. So to me, that's not super tiny.
Well, I said close friends and family. Darcey, a lot of people like me. No, I'm just kidding.
She has a lot of family and friends. And you did say that your mom wanted to invite some family in from out of town.
Yeah.
So I started asking questions. Can you bring in a caterer? What's the food situation? Are you going to get a DJ or can we play music through their speakers? What else did I ask?
Are you going to have a wedding dance? I said, no, we don't want any of that. And you said the wedding is not about you. It's about your guests.
I mean, it is true because you're planning a wedding. They're coming in from out of town. You have to feed them. Some people like drinks. It's really a show for them, in my opinion. Some people will disagree. You can ask the listeners.
But we didn't want anything like that because we wanted something different. We just wanted something really low key. I like the idea of while people were in their lanes bowling, that I could just kind of mingle back and forth and chat with everybody in small groups. To me, this was just the perfect way to just celebrate with family and friends.
Right. And I thought it was a really good start of an idea. And then you said, well, we're not even going to bowl. And I'm like, well, what if nobody else wants to bowl? What if they just want to talk to you and spend time with you? Is there going to be music? What's the food situation? Because you know you have to feed your guests.
Right.
Long story short, I stressed her out.
Yes, you did. It's my second wedding. I'm not expecting my parents to pay for anything. Obviously, they paid for the first and it was on Lloyd and me. We're not wealthy people. We wanted something very small and low key and affordable for us. But the bowling party, even though we were really excited about it, actually was going to be more expensive than we originally anticipated.
Oh, really?
So when you were saying all this stuff, I thought, I don't want to spend all this money that we really don't have on something that's like guests are going to be like, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? I thought this is not how my vision was. I wanted it to be a low key day where I'm just enjoying the moment with friends and family. And it felt like it was turning into something that I did not want. So I said to him, you know what? I'm going to text Eilish, ask her if it's okay with her if we get married when she's not here. And as long as it is, I said, we're eloping this summer. Is that okay with you? And he's like, I'm absolutely fine with that if that's what you want. I was like, okay, we're eloping. We're not telling people the date. We're doing it this summer and we'll tell them about it afterwards.
Okay. So going back to the text, I didn't realize until right now, like you literally, quote unquote, decided to elope after our bowling conversation. Like this was right after our bowling conversation.
Oh yeah.
Hence the reason I was like, Penny's going to kill me. And also listeners, after that, I realized I stressed her out. I'm just going to let her do her thing. It's her wedding. I told her I'm here to help in any way. She knows that.
Yes.
Next thing I know, I get the text with the picture that says just married. I was like, oh crap. But long story short, the conversation went on and I'm very excited for you and Lloyd.
Thank you.
I'm glad you found a man deserving of all your loveliness and humor and intelligence and good cooking.
Yes.
And so how did your family react when you said, guess what? Like if I was that shocked, I imagine your parents and Wendy were pretty surprised.
Well, I did tell them that we were probably going to elope this summer. Because after the bowling conversation, I said, we're going to elope. We're not telling anybody. Nobody's going to be there. And my mom did say to me leading up to it, she's like, well, I hope that I can be there. I hope you'll invite me. And that did break my heart a wee little bit because I don't want to disappoint anybody.
That's cold. That's cold, Jill. No, I'm just kidding.
A week or so beforehand, we kind of debated about it. Is everybody going to kill us? Is everybody going to be mad? And I said, I think they're going to be mad. And I went to bed really upset the one night and I was like, I don't know what we should do. And then the next day I thought, you know what? If this is what we want to do and we excitedly tell people we're married, like, how could you be mad at that?
Right.
I kept thinking, like, should we invite people? Should we just say, close friends and family, we're going to do it at this location. If you can be there, come, great. But then I thought there is no way that my daughter can be there.
Right.
So it would be all my family except for her. And the idea of that would just make me cry.
Yeah.
So I was like, we can't do it. If Eilish isn't going to be there, none of the family can be there.
Right. No, I think it's great. And also if there are angry family members, now the finger can be pointed at me.
No.
And for the record, Penny, I did not try to talk her out of it.
No,
that was not the conversation. I was excitedly offering ideas. Had she sought my advice on eloping, which she clearly didn't, I would have suggested that you bring your parents in. But I understand if Eilish couldn't be there. You know what? You guys are happy. It's about the marriage, not the wedding.
Right.
The most important thing is that you and Lloyd are happy.
Yeah.
He makes you happy, right?
Yes.
And you love each other.
Yes, absolutely. And it was just a very special, sweet moment. I mean, Lloyd does come on the podcast. Y'all have heard him talk. I talk on the podcast, but sharing my emotions openly in front of other people is maybe not my big jam, so not his jam. So I truly feel like having just a sweet moment with just the two of us made it more special for us. So that's what we decided to do.
I can't wait to see more of the pictures. I think you shared 2 or 3 with me.
Yes.
And again, I'll post that text conversation, that picture in the comments, but we're just all really happy for you, Jill.
Thank you.
And Lloyd.
Yeah.
Lloyd has gone a long way from your very first episode when somebody said, "Who is Lloyd? Is that her dog?" to guess what? We're married.
Yes, he has. And, I met him on a dating website. I was doing the free version. So the best money I never spent.
Wow. So those dating apps really work.
They do. All right. So this week, Darcey made a wonderful recipe that I am so excited to hear about. As I said earlier, it's the Guadalajara Swiss Chard Quesadillas, originally from Vegetarian Times magazine, but I believe you found the recipe on food.com, or did you have it back from Vegetarian Times? Because I know you used to subscribe to that.
I did used to subscribe, and I have saved every issue.
Wow.
But when I Googled it, it comes up on food.com.
Yeah.
But I have been making this recipe for many years.
Okay. So did you originally find it in the magazine?
I did originally find it and make it from the magazine years ago, but they no longer have a magazine.
Oh.
So their old recipes are now housed on various websites.
Okay. That's cool. So tell us about the recipe.
This is a great recipe if you're trying to get your family to eat greens.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
They like it.
They love it. And greens are pretty much the healthiest thing you can eat.
Yeah.
Whether it's spinach, romaine, Swiss chard, kale. But let's face it, a lot of time families, especially kids, it's like forcing them to try to eat it. So I made this once and everybody loved it.
Oh, wow.
All of my daughter's friends were sleeping over and they ate an entire tray of it.
Wow.
And the best part is I didn't have any regular cheese at the time. So I used vegan cheese.
Oh my.
And nobody even noticed. So that's when I knew this recipe was a hit.
Yeah.
My husband liked it, my 9-year-old, again, my teenage daughter and her friends, and I love it.
Yeah.
And it's packed with Swiss chard.
Go ahead and tell how you make yours.
Sure. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, there is a little bit of prep work. So you cut up 1 small onion. And again, I have onions in my garden, a couple of cloves of garlic you're going to mince.
Yes.
1 jalapeno. I didn't have a jalapeno, but I had another sort of semi-hot pepper from the farmer's market. And I used half of that. It was an orange hot pepper, some cumin seed and oregano. You're going to saute all of those up in a little bit of olive oil.
So the cumin has to be cumin seed, or can it be the powdery cumin?
I mean, the recipe calls for cumin seed, and I did have that and used it. I don't know. You can probably use a little bit of ground cumin.
Yeah.
To me, the flavor was really similar.
Yeah, I don't have cumin seed, so I think I will probably just use the regular cumin. I'll be curious to see.
And a little bit of oregano. I'm out of oregano in my herb garden, but when I had fresh, I did use fresh. But last night I made this again and I used oregano that was dried.
Okay.
Saute that all up, and then you're going to add... Well, the recipe calls for tequila.
Yeah.
And I never really use tequila. I would just use a little bit of water because you're going to steam your chard.
Okay.
The one time for me and my husband, I made it with some tequila. It actually did alter the flavor and made it very, very tasty. And I'm not a tequila drinker.
Yeah, me neither.
So to me, it tasted delicious.
Yeah.
I made 2 batches last night, and 1 batch with the tequila and 1 with just water.
Yeah.
My stepson doesn't like onions, so I had to make him an entirely different batch.
Oh, wow.
Or he will pick out like every little onion.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of onions in this recipe. So you're going to throw in the tequila and just let it simmer with it for 1 minute. And then your Swiss chard, which you need to slice up, you're going to throw in a huge amount of the Swiss chard, turn it on low, and cover it for probably 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay.
And it gets really soft and it reduces down. And then you put that on the side. And then you get a fresh skillet out and you put on a corn tortilla with a little bit of canola oil. I sprayed it first. Top it with the chard mixture.
Okay.
And again, Swiss chard, you can use, we talked about maybe a kale or a spinach. You're going to try it with spinach, right, Jill?
I think spinach, yeah.
And then put your cheese on top of that. And then put your other corn tortilla on top of it, cook it on medium for 2 minutes on each side.
Okay.
And it gets very sizzly and you almost feel like, am I going to burn this? Is my pan getting too hot?
Yeah.
But when it gets really hot, I think it turns out better because it turns out crispier.
Right.
Like my first couple are kind of soft. And when I get to like the third one that I'm making, they start to get really crispy. I cut it into 4s, serve it with some salsa. My husband likes some sour cream and just, you can't make enough of them. Like I went through the entire 2 batches of Swiss chard and I put a lot of greens on these quesadillas.
Yes.
My husband and stepson asked for a little more cheese on their next one.
Yeah.
And it's pretty filling. And when I ate it last night, I love salsa. I can put salsa on anything.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the flavors of the quesadilla so much that I didn't even dip it in salsa.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to try this.
If you are going to buy some fresh ingredients, Jill, you might want to try the Swiss chard. I know that's not a green that you usually eat.
Not usually, but maybe I'll try it.
But it's so good.
I feel like I could make Lloyd eat it more if I put spinach in instead of Swiss chard, but I'll ask him. Maybe he's okay with Swiss chard.
You know what? Try the spinach then. You can give us a different take on it. I will say that Swiss chard is in season and I got my batches yesterday from the farmer's market. I got the last batch of Swiss chard.
Oh, wow.
I was so excited because I went a little bit late and there was a huge line.
Oh, wow.
So it was so busy, but chard is in season. Onions are in season.
Yeah. And you got some fall gourds too, I saw.
All the fall gourds are out now at the farmer's market. A lot of them are just decorative, but they're so pretty.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different types of squash that are out now at the farmer's market, the acorn squash, the butternut squash. So it's just fun to walk around the farmer's market and see how the produce changes week to week.
Yeah, that would be fun. Although I don't know. I still haven't gotten there. Now, I wanted to ask you, recently you told me about a cookbook that you just got.
Yes.
I know my mom and I had talked a little bit about cookbooks and she was wondering, do you write the dates in yours and who you served it for and what occasion it was and gave it a little rating? Do you ever do anything like that in your cookbooks?
I'll be honest with you. I have not purchased a cookbook in many years.
Same.
I use the internet.
Yeah.
I still have my old subscriptions to Vegetarian Times and decided to get this cookbook because I listened to 2 audiobooks that were just about food and nutrition and diet. And so the one guy had a cookbook out and that's the one I purchased.
Okay.
I think it was the same day. I think it was on a Saturday. I listened to your episode with your mom, with Penny.
Yeah.
And she talked about how she always wrote the date and put notes down.
Yes.
So I am doing that now. I've only made one recipe from it, but I'm going to date it, put my comments on it.
Yeah.
I will say in the past with Vegetarian Times, I did notate, like I would rate it. I would rate the recipe in there.
Yeah.
I never dated it. So that's interesting.
Do you have a staple cookbook? You know, like my mom had her Betty Crocker cookbook that basically just tells you how to make everything. I had my Better Homes and Gardens version of it, was very similar look. Do you have anything like that that's like your one staple cookbook?
I don't have a cookbook like that. What I have is a file folder that is so old, it's about ready to fall apart.
Okay.
But various recipes from the internet, from Vegetarian Times, things that have been passed down from friends. They're all in there on like the original paper. So a lot of them are just so old and written on and ready to fall apart. But that's my go-to. I know all of my best recipes are in this file folder that I keep in the kitchen in a drawer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Darcey.
Yes.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me here today about my wedding and about your recipe that sounds so delicious. I can't wait to try it.
I can't wait to hear how you and Lloyd like it.
Yeah. I hope he likes it. We'll see. Usually Mexican is a dish that goes over well with him.
Does he like greens? Does he like spinach?
You know, that I am not 100% sure. I have made salads with spinach in them. We have this vegetarian pizza we like. He asked for no spinach on it. That's why I'm not sure that he's going to want the quesadillas with the greens in it, but
you
we'll
can
see.
go lighter on the greens in the quesadilla.
Yeah.
That's the other good thing about it. You can use your judgment.
That's what I was planning on doing. I was
Last night
go
I went to
lighter.
town though. I'm like, these people are getting their greens whether they like it or not. And I really packed in the greens and they ate it. So, hey.
Yeah, maybe I'll start small like you do with children. You give them a flavor of it.
I hope he's not listening.
And by like the 5th time I make it, I'll have it like full greens and he'll be like, these are so good. Cause I'll like ease him into the tasting of it. And he doesn't listen to the full episode usually. So I can equate him to my child, but no, I'm kidding. He's not my child. He's my husband.
Her new husband, her brand new husband. How does it feel to say that?
It's fun. Everybody's like, how does it feel to be married? We're like the same. But then I say, you know, the one difference is we're having fun being like, hey, I got to go check on my husband, see what he's up to. You know, like we're having fun throwing that around.
Oh, marriage is a wonderful thing. So I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you all for listening to Banter and Dish podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please like, rate, review, and subscribe. And probably most importantly, tell someone about us who you think might enjoy the podcast, because we love when you share us with your friends.
And remember to like and follow Banter and Dish on Instagram and Facebook.
So stay tuned and stay safe. And wherever life may take you this week, try to add a hint of humor
And a dash of delight.
Hello?
Hey, Lloyd, you're live on Banter and Dish.
Hey there.
How are you doing?
All right. Nice to meet you.
It's wonderful to meet you.
Here's my husband, Darcey.
Lloyd, oh my goodness. Congratulations, first of all, on your marriage to Jill.
Thank you. Thank
We
you.
are also happy for you two lovebirds.
I'm very happy.
I bet you are.
Even 2 weeks and 1 day later, I'm still happy.
Well, that's good. That's what I said driving there. I'm like, we think it's a good decision now. Let's hope we think it's a good decision tomorrow and for the rest of our lives.
And I'm sure it will be. But Lloyd, since none of us could be there, give us your take on eloping and the wedding day. Share a little bit of your perspective on it.
Well, first of all, I was nervous about eloping just because I didn't want to upset anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when we were just waiting for our two witnesses to arrive and we Googled whether it was actually allowed to get married in the location that we were? And what did you find?
Yeah, you have to have a permit.
To clear it up, you had to have a permit if you were in the walled-in area of this park, which we were not getting married in the walled-in area. But then we kind of panicked. Although I think that they meant full wedding where people were like setting up chairs and a lot of people there.
Absolutely,
Our wedding literally was 2 minutes and it was just like, four people standing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we did get married next to a wall. And as I can see that it was inside of a wall, right?
It was not the walled-in area that they were talking about.
Technically, we were married illegally.
Well,
When I first got the text from Jill and you said park, you didn't say where. I assumed it was the Monroeville Community Park because you had originally talked about having a small ceremony there before the bowling alley.
yeah.
That's where I was.
Yeah.
And I was like, where are you? Can you imagine had I screeched up and crashed the wedding after I'm the one that derailed it? That would not have gone over well with the family.
Well, my idea was Eaton Park, but that wasn't an option.
I love Eaton Park. Smiley cookies for dessert. How did your family react with you eloping, Lloyd?
It was funny because when we decided to get married, I called my brother. We talk a couple times a week. We were talking about something, whatever, politics, football, I don't know. And then I'm like, oh yeah. And then Jill and I are getting married. He's like, talk about burying the lead.
You totally did that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, when I sent my text when we officially got engaged, I don't think people actually understood that we were engaged. Did you understand, Darcey?
I don't remember the exact text you sent out, but yeah, I don't remember being confused. I was confused about the marriage, not the engagement.
Yeah. Some people were confused about the engagement. In fact, my sister didn't even fully understand.
What did you say? Remind me.
I can't remember exactly what I said in the text, but I don't think I said we are engaged. But I think I had talked to people about it. And so then when I got the ring, which is his mom's birthstone ring, which I love.
That's what I remember.
And
yeah.
I texted people a picture of the ring on my finger. And I think my sister just thought we finally got it sized, but we didn't make it official. Several days later, I put it on Facebook. We changed our status or whatever to engaged.
Yeah.
And she's like, you put it on Facebook and you didn't even tell me? And I'm like, I did tell you. And she's like, oh, I must have misunderstood. But I don't think I was as clear as I could have been because she wasn't the only person who was a little confused.
You know what? I'm happy to report they can't blame that one on me.
Yeah.
That was not my fault. But I remember the ring picture and I knew.
Yeah, yeah. So, Lloyd, do you have anything else you want to share about the wedding day or anything like that?
Well,
before you get back to your movies, I assume you're watching Turner Classic.
You're damn right. Now, I was obsessed about my shoes.
Yes.
I would wear.
He was.
And everything else pretty much. I was making costume changes up until we left.
Nice.
Basically, yeah.
But the shoes, I had a dream the night before
that
I had lost my shoes. I was looking all over for them.
I'm sure there's a meaning behind that in dream interpretation.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it was because I had cold feet, but I wanted to warm them up by putting shoes on.
Did you have cold feet?
No, not at all. Nope.
I didn't think so.
No.
We need to find out. We need to get to the bottom of that.
I remember my shoelace on my right shoe kept loosening, and I was like, I don't want to bend over and tie my shoe. Shirt will pull out of the back. I'm already hot and sweaty.
I feel you, Lloyd. Welcome to my world.
It was a hot day. I feel so bad for men. I mean, they do have it better in most things in life, so I shouldn't feel so bad for them.
Yeah.
But like, I'm in a short dress, short sleeves, and he's in like a button-down shirt, a tie, a suit jacket, and pants, and he chose those boots to wear, which was extra hot. I had sandals on. So I was boiling in what I was wearing. I can only imagine how hot he was. And ultimately our pictures ended because he's like, I'm done. I can't sweat like this anymore. This is
You
it.
guys picked a hot day to get married.
I was like focused on the forecast. You know, they do like the 14-day forecast. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's going to be 83 that day. So at 10 o'clock, it'll probably be, you know, like 75 or whatever. But the closer it got, the hotter, you know, it was going to be. And if it were up to me, every picture would have been in the shade.
Right.
It was a hot day for the clothes that I had on.
Yes.
You know, it was a beautiful day.
Yes, it was.
Beautiful day. You guys are a beautiful couple. We're all so happy for you.
Thank you.
And now you have to get back to your movies, huh?
Turner Classic Movies, The Barretts of Wimpole Street. It's like a Victorian thing where the father doesn't want his daughter to marry a poet.
Kind of like us. A wedding. A
Right.
wedding episode on Turner Classic Movies. All right. So thanks, Lloyd.
Nice meeting you, Darcey.
It was so good to meet you, Lloyd. I hope we meet in person sometime soon. Maybe we can go bowling. Just kidding.
I would be up for that.
All right.
Okay. All right,
See you,
guys.
Lloyd.
All right,
All right,
bye.
bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm not a baker. I can't. Working with dough is really hard for me.
You know what? You should be a baker, though, because you follow a recipe. I've recently learned that bakers need to follow recipes.
Yes.
Cooks kind of like do what I do, where I just like throw in whatever I want. The funny thing is, I like to bake, and I didn't realize that you weren't supposed to do that when you're baking.
I knew that. Trust me, I learned that many years ago the hard way.
Okay, so Darcey, the thing that concerns me the most about the way you found out about the wedding, you say you found out when you were in the car en route. Please tell me you weren't texting and driving.
No. I was in my car, but I was actually stopped.
Okay,
The
good.
whole I almost wrecked thing was more metaphorical.
Okay.
I was so surprised. Yeah, for the record, I wasn't actually texting and driving and almost wrecked, but I was so shocked. You could put a sound effect in there that's like, great!
That would be funny.